Susan suffers from anorexia nervosa. This serious disorder, although it can occur in both men and women, is far more common in women than men. In Susan's case, it has had a profound effect on her sense of self and on her relationships with other people. I understand that you have some difficulties eating and with your eating habits. Could you just describe them for us?
Yeah, basically I don't want to eat because it seems like as soon as I eat, I just gain weight, get fat. Look bulgy to me anyway, so that only makes it worse. But then there's sometimes where, I can't stop it, I have to, and then once I eat, regardless of the amount, there's a strong urge to either purge or take laxatives or something along those lines.
Is it a particular number of pounds that you're aware of? When you say that you're worried about your weight?
I guess you could say that the only problem is that it never stops. You start at a weight, it becomes very obsessive, where you're getting on the scale 10 times a day.
How much do you weigh?
Well, I weigh 96 pounds now.
Are you aware of, for your height and build, what your so-called ideal weight might be?
No, not really. There was a time where I thought that I had it under control, and I wasn't getting on the scale at all, and eating regular meals. And I know that at that point I was 118 pounds, and that's probably a good weight for me. I remember feeling okay there when I was there.
And do you notice that as you lose more weight, does your concern lessen about the weight, or does it grow larger?
It grows larger.
So the lower down you go in terms of your weight, your concern about it and the drive to lose even more actually increases.
Right.
Is
Yes.
that what I'm understanding?
That's right.
How is it that you come to gain weight from time to time?
Most of the time it has to do with some sort of social situation where I actually draw more attention to myself if I don't eat. Like a birthday weekend that I just had a couple of weekends ago. And I'm a chocolate freak, so that's what they do, and you fix you your favorite foods, and they, just give you all this stuff. And then you almost have to eat it, because if you don't, you're drawing more attention to yourself. Mm-hmm. So it becomes out of control. It's almost like, since I can't monitor and not eat it, I eat it all. And then I have to take care of it somehow later.
When you gain weight like that, what feeling does that give you?
Frustrated, angry, feeling worthless. Yeah, I guess that comes from a lot of things. Number one, just because you're allowing, all of a sudden you realize that you gave control to someone else,
I see.
And you gave up control. You couldn't even monitor it.
I want to go back and ask again about another detail. You said that you have to get rid of weight when you gain it. How do you do that?
Usually I try and throw up, and sometimes I'm successful at that and I feel better and it's fine. Sometimes I can't throw it up for whatever reason, I don't know. So then if I can, it can be exercise. Like on a weekend, if I don't have anything planned, I'll probably, work out for 2 hours. Mm-hmm. But if it's like a work situation where I'm at work and we had a birthday party and I can't, then it's a laxative.
You use the word obsession. Is that the sense of it that you have?
Yeah, I think that's very much it. Mm-hmm. It's so shallow. I guess that's so aggravating when you realize that, because you are going to gain a pound. If not today, it'll be tomorrow. And pretty soon you're going to get looking real fat again, and you're going to be worthless.
Even when you lose pounds, you feel like your body doesn't look right or feel right?
real bulgy.
What is it that you notice, or in what way does your body not feel right?
It feels fat. And when I look in the mirror, especially, around the stomach and the hips and, the back end and around up here, it just looks fat. It hangs almost like I'm pregnant.
What's the lowest weight you've ever gotten down to?
I got down to 87 pounds in the early 20s. That's when it was the worst. That was probably the worst bout of it that I had.
How about your periods? Are they regular, or does that stop when you lose weight? Do they stop?
Yeah, it has, and I'm real frustrated that it hasn't stopped this time yet, because that tells me that I need to lose more weight still, because there's some sort of connection there with if you lose enough weight and have enough, that your body fat is so low you don't have a period. Well, if I'm still having a period, that means that I have enough body fat, obviously, so I still need to lose some.
Can you tell us how this all began and how it's waxed and waned over the years?
I guess there were periods of it, actually, when I was in grade school. And it seemed to kind of be triggered, like, if you get a flu or whatever, and, you can't keep food in your stomach for a couple of days, and then you get the comments of, oh, yeah, you lost weight. And so I would get into a cycle of some kind. I learned how to throw up. But it was never prolonged. I mean, I don't think it ever lasted even a year. Mm-hmm. I don't think I could, because, you can't hide that kind of stuff when you're in grade school and still living with your family and parents and things. And then actually over the years it just got more pronounced. I think it got really bad when I finally went away to undergrad, because there was nobody watching me, and so I was free to be able just to continue it and continue it. Mm-hmm.
Do you notice any relationship between your mood, how you're feeling, and the weight that you are?
Yeah. I'm trying to, okay, well, I don't know if it doesn't make sense, you'll ask me about it, but it's kind of like, I noticed that I start to become real depressed, usually. Probably to a point where it becomes really clinically significant. Mm-hmm. And I naturally lose an appetite during that time. Mm-hmm. And then I notice that, as I start losing more and more weight, that I start feeling better.
What was your mood like when you weighed 118 pounds?
I was doing fine then. I think some of it had to do with just things that I had accomplished in my life, because at that point I did get the master's, which I thought I never would. I found a job, which I thought I never would. And so just being able to have that income coming in, and the fact that I knew I would now be financially independent and not depending on anybody, and I've made these accomplishments, I was just gung-ho. It was like, okay, now let's get into this job. You're an important person now. It's just that it didn't last, I guess.
You talked about having mixed feelings, about having people pay attention to your eating problems, and about being in control of situations. And yet here we are, being videotaped. How do you feel about that?
There's a whole bunch of conflicting feelings. I think when it was first talked about, it was like, oh, wow, like, oh, I'm a celebrity of some kind. I finally made an accomplishment. But I'm going to be real embarrassed to walk in there, because the first thing that they're going to see is, no, we didn't want binging problems. We wanted anorexic problems. And I'm not skinny enough to be an anorexic yet. So there was some real fears about that. And then there was also some... I don't know, I guess I allowed myself to feel good, because this is probably the first time that I've ever said, okay, yeah, you have an eating disorder. There's been some cycles to it, But before, in the past, I never even admitted it. It was like, no. I know that, I try to make myself throw up, but I'm not, trying to kill myself or anything like that, which is probably what anorexics are doing, So it's only this particular cycle that I finally accepted the fact that it's an eating disorder, when you don't want to eat. And then when you do eat, you feel like you need to take care of it. That's an eating disorder, Susan. So there was some kind of, just kind of like a feeling good inside that I finally admitted that.
Being here is part of acknowledging.
I guess.